I'm currently squeezed into a corner in the hobby room. This corner around the window, we had problems with a big rainwater leak a few months ago. It's the only time it's ever happened. We've had problems with damp around this window forever. We knew we needed to do a bit of work with gaps in the slates. I wonder if I could pop the light on in here. Just a moment. I'm not sure if that's helped at all. Yeah, we had a big water leak a few months ago. The first time we had a big leak. Before, it had just been a bit of damp, and the wallpaper, the lining paper that had been put on around the skylight had lifted, and it had been stuck down a couple of times because of minor damp problems. But this big leak was so much so that the whole corner of this room was saturated. I'd had to pull back the rug that was in here, bring up the dehumidifier. There was so much water that it had gotten into the interior walls and ran down, and it was coming out through our light switch in the bedroom. And anyway, so a couple of weeks ago, John did a lot of, well, it's a few weeks now, did a lot of work around the window, repairing the slates and what have you. And then after I'd fitted the carpet in here, a couple of days after, there was a tiny leak above the window. It had lifted a little bit of the wallpaper in the top of the skylight, and there was a single line of water on the carpet, just a little trickle. So yesterday he finished repairing above the window. There was a gap in the slates, so that should all be sorted. Meanwhile, I've had to stick all the wallpaper back on, and it's pretty messy, but I've done my best, and I'm painting over it, and that's what I was getting around to saying. So I'd painted all this room except for in this corner, because I knew John had this little bit of minor work to do, and I didn't want the black sealant to get on the walls or anything, and then after I'd already painted it. So that's what I'm doing. This paint though that I'm using is ancient. Well, no, it's not ancient, it's a few years old, and metal paint cans, they go really gross and rusty, so there are bits in my paint. There's nothing I can do about it. It was all on the top of the paint, so I've just had to mix it in basically. So when this is all dry, I'll just have to run my hand over, and it'll take off any of the tiny little bits, rough spots. But yes, I need to put a coat of yellow paint on this wall. I've done some white on the sloping ceiling and around the skylight. I have a little bit of a drip there. Around the skylight. In fact, I've put a second coat in certain places, and the staining is still coming through. I'm hoping when it's dry, it'll look okay. Otherwise, I might have to put some stain block on that first. Hope I don't have to, because that stuff takes forever to dry. So yeah, that's what I'm doing this morning. And then when this is all done, I can put my carpet back. There'll be a lovely crease in it because I'm kneeling on it, and I can get this room tidied up a little bit. But the problem with this room, when I showed it the other day, there wasn't a lot in it, but I have so much craft stuff to store in here, and currently no storage, so by the time I brought it all in, it's going to be as messy as it was before we started renovating in here. But there's not a lot I can do until I get some more storage, but that's for another day. That took quite a bit longer than I thought it would, and although I've put three coats of white on the slopey parts, the water stains still coming through in a couple of places, so I think at some point I'm going to have to put some stain cover stuff on that and repaint over the top, but I'm not going to be doing that in the next couple of weeks. I want this room usable again. At the moment, everything's been stuffed over in this corner, and I can't sew in here with all this stuff over here. So now I can at least put the stuff back in place and maybe get some sewing done, although highly unlikely that'll get done today. I do need to plan out my next couple of sewing projects though, so maybe at least I could get that done. Okay, so although I still have the rest of these project bags to do, there is 1, 2, 3, I think. So 3, yeah, 3 project bags still left to do. I would like to make another dress. I'm thinking of being really, really imaginative and making another hinterland dress. I've just got to decide which fabric to use for the next one I want to make. So my options have a really nice fine corduroy fabric. The reason I hesitate to use this, because although I love the colour and I do like a lightweight corduroy, is my black flowery one that I made in a fine needle cord. I'm finding the pile is wearing away under the arms really quite quickly, which is a bit of a concern. I'm thinking I may need to do a like a double fabric underarm gusset or something, which I've never done before. But I have a feeling the underarms are going to wear out on that dress really fast, simply because the pile is just rubbing against each other all the time. And the same way wool pills under the armpits and at the side of the bust where your arms are moving more, the same thing is happening with the corduroy, and I'm not sure how to get around that. But I do have enough of this to make a dress, I think. Mind, just because the nap goes in one direction, I might be limited too. So that is one option, but one I have to think a bit more about. My other option is thinking ahead to the winter. So I have this really nice black and red brushed cotton fabric. I made a dress last autumn in the same fabric base that was in a orange and navy blue. I had a right carry on with it. I did a hybrid penny dress combined with another dress, and it was a button down collar dress. This year I'm thinking of keeping, I was going to do the same with this fabric, but I think I'm going to keep it simple and do a hinterland with this one, probably with a button placket, at least on the top, probably not a full length one. So there is this as an option, and that would be really nice for in the winter, not just because of the fabric that it is, but also the colours as well. I'm kind of leaning towards this, but also when I was making my sister's wedding dress this summer, I ordered some fabric, and when it arrived we decided the fabric was too thick, so I ended up ordering a much finer fabric. But the first fabric I ordered, this is the thing, I ordered a sample and I thought it was fine, and then I ordered the amount of fabric that I needed. I think I ordered, I don't know if it was 3 or 4 meters worth, maybe 3.5 meters, and then decided to buy the other fabric. So I actually have, this is the sample, but I actually have enough of this fabric to make a dress for myself. It's just a basic crafting cotton. I mean, you can see the light through it, but it's not see-through when it's, you know, just on its own. So I could make a dress. It would almost be like a Christmas dress because it is Christmas green. Or I could certainly wear it as a Christmas dress. But it would be a green dress, so I can wear it with anything. It would go with a lot of my knitwear. I have a lot of autumnal coloured knitwear. So that would be an option. I haven't got the fabric here because I've just washed it yesterday and it's still drying and I need to press it. So that's something else I have to do as well, whereas all these fabrics have already been washed. So I think it's going to have to be a choice between the check and the green. And if I do the green, it will be a full placket dress if I do it in a hinterland, because a plain colour, I feel like it needs something to break up just the expanse of colour, whereas something like this, I wouldn't technically need to make a placket for this because it's quite patterned, but I think a top button placket would look nice because it is almost like a shirt fabric and it would give that sort of feel without being a full button down. So I think it might be this one. It might be this one, although I am leaning towards this one too. Maybe I could just do both. I haven't got a huge amount of time. Let me just move my camera. I haven't got a huge amount of free time over the next few days. Mum's coming over in a few days to visit, and I think she's staying I'm not sure if she's staying for a week or a little bit less, but you know, we're going to account for a week, and I don't know how much sewing time I'll get done in that time, because my hobby room's up here and we usually hang out down in the living room. But it doesn't really take, when I've been sewing the last few dresses that I've done, I never used to be much of a sewer. I used to find it, this is going to sound really silly, but it used to take too much time. I mean, I can spend months knitting on a sweater, but for some reason spending a week on sewing a garment seems like a long time. It's really strange, and I always found it a bit fiddly and frustrating. But this pattern, the Hinterland, I found, other than a couple of little mistakes in the pattern, to be really, really easy. One moment, sorry about that. I think I've got a bit of dust catching my throat. But the last few times I've done the Hinterland, I've really enjoyed it, and I've actually come to enjoy sewing, which is why I volunteered to make my sister's wedding dress. So if I get my pattern pieces cut out, my fabric pieces cut out rather, I think I could probably make this over the next couple of weeks. Either this or this. I'm kind of leaning towards this. I could get this done in the next couple of weeks, just doing it in bits and pieces. So I found that if I just kind of break it down a little bit, so if I kind of think to myself in the morning, oh, I might just nip upstairs and I'll attach those plackets, and then you go up and do them. And if you do a little bit more, then great, but if you don't, it doesn't matter, because I've done exactly what I set out to do. Or I'll just attach them sleeves to the bodice, and so on and so forth. And I found that that seems to work quite well in keeping my motivation up, and also not pushing on too far and like wearing myself out. So yes, I think it will be this one, and then maybe in November I will do the green one in time for Christmas season. Today has kind of turned into a bit of a chatty one. Sometimes it's just the way it works out, especially when you haven't got a lot to actually show. I've actually started reworking the yoke on my witching hour. I did, how many rows have I done? 1, 2, 3, I've only done 5 rows of the yoke, so there isn't really anything to show of that either. But I'm sure I will prefer it as a cardigan than as the sweater I'd originally started. I think I'm just going to do a few rows on this afternoon and catch up with a few Vlogtober videos, and then I will be having to start making dinner. I think we've got some avocado that wants using up, so I'm thinking my take on loaded wedges, which is as quick to make as I can possibly make it, but it's just homemade potato wedges and topped with I'll quick fry up some chunky chopped onion and green pepper, and then add a tin of mixed beans and taco seasoning. Well, it's in like a taco dressing, taco sauce, something like that. Sometimes I make my own sauce and just add in a tin of black beans or butter beans. Today is going to be a quick one, so a tin of taco, if I've got some taco beans, otherwise I'll be making my own sauce. Maybe I'll just throw in some fresh cherry tomatoes, halved cherry tomatoes in there as well, and serve it with guacamole and either cheese or a cheese sauce. If I make a cheese sauce, I make a really quick one. I just melt a bit of grated cheese and a big spoonful of Greek yogurt in a pan to make a quick cheese sauce. It tends to split because of the yogurt, but it tastes fine. It just splits a little bit, but that doesn't bother me. And sometimes I want a cheesy sauce as opposed to just cheese, and it makes a nice tangy sauce because of the yogurt. But I'll see how I feel in a bit. But that's a relatively easy dinner. It only takes really 10 minutes of prep work, and that's just chopping some onion and green pepper. So I think, and doing the avocado. So I think that'll be a quick dinner tonight, because I need a quick meal. I'm really quite tired this afternoon. I'm not sure why. So a quick dinner is definitely on the cards. Also, I don't know what's going on with my hair today. Lately, I don't know what's been wrong with it. It's not greasy. I've just washed it like yesterday, day before yesterday. I can't remember, but it's just really lank lately. I don't know, it must be hormonal. That's what I'm putting it down to. I'm putting it down to 40 something hormones. Okay, I'm gonna leave this video here today because otherwise it's just gonna be a very long video of me babbling on about nothing. And I will see you tomorrow, hopefully with something a bit more interesting than watching paint dry. Bye bye.